Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we are diving into some absolutely fascinating source material that challenges pretty much everything we thought we knew about getting older. We've always been told that aging is just this fixed, uncontrollable downward trajectory, right? Well, let's take a look at how the latest science suggests we might actually be able to run our biological clocks backward. It's a real game changer. To get started, the research poses a pretty fundamental question. What is your true age? Now, if I ask you that, you'd probably just immediately spit out the year you were born. But think about it for a second. Have you ever noticed how you can have two people who are exactly 35 years old, yet they seem to be living in completely different bodies? I mean, one of them is just buzzing with energy, their skin is glowing, and their mind is super sharp. And then you look at another 35-year-old, and they're completely exhausted, dealing with brain fog, and just dragging through the day. So why exactly does that happen?
Well, this illustrates a core concept in the material. We actually have two ages. First, you have your chronological age. That's the number on your ID card, it's driven by time, and honestly, there is absolutely nothing you can do to change it. But then you have your biological age. Now this one is malleable. This represents the true functional age of your cells. Think of it like two identical cars that roll off the exact same assembly line on the exact same day. One of them is perfectly maintained, kept in a warm garage, and 10 years later it still runs like brand new. The other car, it's driven hard on terrible roads, never gets an oil change, and is literally ready for the junkyard in 5 years. The manufacturing date is exactly the same, but the actual physical condition of the machine is drastically different. Your body is that car.
So to really understand the control mechanism that determines if you're the luxury car or the total clunker, we have to zoom way down into our cells. We usually think of our genes as this fixed, unchangeable destiny, but science tells us it's really not that simple. I want you to think of your DNA as a magnificent, highly complex piano. This piano is your fixed hardware. It contains every single note your life could possibly play. But, a piano sitting alone in an empty room doesn't make any music, does it? It needs a pianist. In your body, that pianist is called your epigenetics. Epigenetics doesn't change the physical piano itself. Instead, it decides which keys to press, which ones to skip, which notes to hammer loudly, and which ones to play softly.
Okay, so how exactly does our internal pianist know what to play? That brings us to a biological mechanism called DNA methylation. Now, DNA methylation is essentially just a series of tiny chemical tags that attach directly to our genes. You can sort of visualize these tags as tiny volume knobs or mute buttons placed right there on the piano keys. When a specific gene gets one of these methylation tags, it's like a mute button is pressed. That gene is totally silenced. If the tag is removed, the gene wakes right back up. Your overall health is largely about whether your pianist is using these mute buttons correctly, to silence the bad, inflammatory genes and activate the good and reparative ones. A highly skilled pianist creates a beautiful symphony of vitality, while a stressed-out pianist creates the chaotic, out-of-tune noise of rapid aging.
Now, this isn't just some abstract, theoretical science. The source material highlights the incredible work of Dr. Fitzgerald, who is a leading scientist in functional medicine. She and her team conducted a groundbreaking clinical trial that, honestly, completely shocked the medical world. They wanted to see if they could actually train that internal pianist using nothing but diet and lifestyle changes. There were no magic pills here, no experimental drugs, just a highly specific set of natural instructions sent straight to the body.
And here is the mind-blowing result of that clinical trial: 3.23 years. Just take a second to let that sink in. In just 8 weeks, the participants reversed their biological age by an average of 3.23 years. By simply changing what they ate and how they lived, their cells literally rolled back the clock to the state they were in over 3 years prior. And we're not just talking about a vague feeling of having a bit more energy. This was a scientifically quantified, measurable reversal of their DNA methylation patterns. They successfully trained their pianist to play a much younger song.
Let's put this into perspective with a really concrete example from the source material so you can see exactly how this played out. We'll call this participant Lao Wang. So Lao Wang was a 50-year-old guy. He was chronically stressed, always staying up super late, eating a pretty terrible diet. At week 0 of the trial, his biological age actually tested at 58. His internal symphony was just chaotic. But for the next 8 weeks, researchers basically handed Lao Wang a brand new piece of sheet music. They had him eat dark leafy greens and berries, use spices like turmeric, prioritize his sleep, exercise daily, and even practice a bit of meditation. They gave his pianist the absolute best possible environment to learn. And the result? By week 8, his biological age plummeted to 54. On a microscopic cellular level, the guy erased 4 years of aging in just 2 months. Absolutely wild.
So I know what you're wondering. How do we get our hands on this exact sheet music? Well, the core foundation of this entire protocol is what you put on your plate every single day. We really need to completely reframe how we look at food. Food isn't just calories to keep you moving. Every single bite you take is literally a line of code. It's a direct set of instructions that you are sending straight to your genetic pianist. If you send the right code, your pianist learns to play a flawless symphony of cellular repair and longevity.
The dietary code that Dr. Fitzgerald outlines is actually surprisingly simple, and it breaks down into two main categories. First up, we have the methyl donors. Your body needs raw materials to actually build those mute buttons we talked about earlier, right? That material is a methyl donor. Think of it as the ink your pianist needs to write out the sheet music. We get this essential ink from things like dark leafy greens, like spinach, beets, and the choline found in eggs. But here's the catch. Ink alone isn't enough. You need someone to tell the pianist exactly where to put it. That's where the second category comes in, methylation adaptogens. Think of these guys as your brilliant conductors. They guide the pianist, saying, hey, put a mute button on this inflammation gene over here and take the mute button off this healing gene over there. You'll find these brilliant conductors in turmeric, green tea, and berries. When you combine the ink and the conductor in a single meal, you are sending the ultimate, highest quality code directly to your DNA.
But look, it's not quite enough to just add in all the good stuff. We absolutely must talk about the villains that are actively ruining the symphony. The research identifies three major concert destroyers. First up is sugar and refined carbs. Imagine a massive crowd of screaming, chaotic fans suddenly rushing into your pristine concert hall. They create so much inflammatory noise that your poor pianist can't even hear the conductor. Plus, processing all that sugar completely depletes your body's B vitamins, which is effectively like spilling all your precious genetic ink all over the floor. The second destroyer is processed foods. Eating these is like handing your pianist corrupted, completely scribbled on sheet music, which just causes them to mute the good genes and crank up the volume on the bad ones. And the third massive destroyer? Chronic stress. Stress acts as this tyrannical, abusive taskmaster standing right behind your pianist, just screaming at them. In a total panic, your pianist abandons the slow, beautiful melodies of cellular repair and just starts frantically smashing the fight-or-flight keys.
So, to kick that tyrannical stress out of the room and create the ultimate environment for your pianist, you need to rebuild what we call your anti-aging ecosystem. Diet is the foundation, for sure, but it really needs a strong supporting cast. First is exercise. Just 30 minutes a day of moderate activity acts as direct training for your pianist, improving their overall precision. Then, you've got sleep. Listen, 7 to 8 hours a night is your concert hall's cleanup crew. If you skip sleep, it's literally like making your world-class orchestra perform in a filthy room filled with last night's garbage. Next up is deep breathing or meditation. This is simply the act of telling that stressed-out taskmaster to leave the room, finally allowing your pianist to take a breath and find their natural rhythm. And finally, intermittent fasting, like a 16/8 schedule, actually triggers deep cellular maintenance. It's like doing a massive, annual deep cleaning and tuning of all your instruments at once.
When you actually start seeing your daily habits through this epigenetic lens, you're going to experience a massive shift in mindset. As the source material beautifully summarizes it, you are no longer a passive passenger, but the driver of your health. You kind of stop viewing aging as this terrifying, unavoidable slide into fatigue and sickness. Every single time you choose a vibrant, colorful salad over a donut, or 10 minutes of deep breathing over mindlessly scrolling on your phone, you aren't just relying on willpower. You are making an empowered, highly intelligent choice to protect your pianist. You actually have your hands firmly on the steering wheel of your own biological clock.
So based on all this research, here are 3 highly practical, super low-friction steps you can literally start doing tomorrow to reclaim control. Number 1, eat a 5-color rainbow meal. For your very next lunch or dinner, just try to get 5 different naturally colored plants onto your plate. The more colors you have, the more brilliant conductors you invite to your concert. Number 2, start a 10-minute habit. Seriously, just 10 minutes. Take a short walk after a meal or do 10 minutes of deep breathing right before bed. Just give your stressed-out pianist a moment to recalibrate. And number 3, swap out those sweet drinks for some green tea or herbal tea. You'll immediately stop those chaotic sugar fans from rushing the stage, and instead you'll flood your system with powerful adaptogens.
To wrap up this explainer, the material leaves us with one final, really provocative question to reflect on. If you close your eyes and really listen to your body right now, what style of symphony is it currently playing? Is it a chaotic, high-stress, heavy metal track? Is it a slow, exhausted, totally out-of-tune march? Or is it a vibrant, harmonious, classical masterpiece?
The incredible news from the science is that whatever your body is playing today, you now have the exact sheet music to change the tune tomorrow. I would absolutely love to hear about your journey, so please let me know down in the comments what kind of music your cells are making right now and what step you're going to take first to change it. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this fascinating science, and I will see you in the next explainer.